wake up early to go to this office, and for me it was super hard to be at the same place every day all my life being a photographer. Because of that, you never know the day of tomorrow. You don't have a salary, sometimes you don't have work. And I decided to become a photographer, and I quit my job. 31 countries that I visited throughout my life, and they were all because of photography. Who would never seen white men before? We have so many comforts in our life that we are not even aware of. Portugal is amazing.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Girafa podcast show. Today, we have our guest. Today we have a Marcel. I don't know how can pronounce your family name.
That's okay. Marcel Faveri.
Faveris, yeah. He is a filmmaker and video editor. So I was checking your Instagram. So you have around 15,000 50k followers, so you're kind of the professional in your job. It's my pleasure to talk with you, and I'm gonna say, if you wanna start, just introduce yourself, and then we will going to our question. So the first question is gonna be just who you are and just introducing yourself.
Okay, hello everyone who was watching us. Thank you, Benjamin and Jay, for the invitation. It's an honor to be part of this podcast and to contribute in some way with my experiences. My name is Marcel Faveri. I am from São Paulo, Brazil. I am a director of photography. I shoot a lot of travel videos, advertisement, feature films, and that's been my life for the past 13 years. And now I'm living in Portugal. I'm here at Oeiras, really close to Lisbon. And since I got into Europe, it's been super crazy with my work, traveling a lot, getting to know a lot of the European countries. So yeah, life has been really good here. A lot of traveling, a lot of shooting. Been flying drones also. I am also an editor and a colorist. So most of the times when I'm not with my camera in my hand, I am doing some edits in color grading at home.
Okay, so you have a lot of titles. Which one is gonna be your favorite one? We're gonna say you are an editor, filmmaker, or you are a person that you like to travel. Which one is your favorite?
I really like to being a filmmaker involve all of that, right? But what I most like is to work with the camera in my hand and being creative all the time and getting to travel and to be in different places every time I get a chance to do that. So that's my favorite part of the craft.
I was checking your page, an Instagram page, so I found it most of the time, most of the video or the picture you had, it was from the nature and your trip. So because of that, I asking which one is your favorite. So the first one, you like camera and you love your job, but there is a different or there's a lot of variety of area you can do your job as a cameraman or as an editor. Why nature? Why trip? Why traveler? So can you explain?
I mean, for me, photography was always about connection, right? Like feeling connected to the moment and appreciate what you're seeing, to capture the essence of it and make other people feel like you are feeling in that moment when they see your photo, your video, whatever. So for me, it was a natural thing, like nature. I was always surrounded by nature. My whole childhood, I grew up in a farm. My father used to run this farm, and we grew up there in the middle of Brazil. It's called Goiás, the state. And we grew up there in a city named Ipameri. And I think that all that contact with nature during my childhood stayed with me, the need to be in nature, in contact with nature, and also because of sports. I am a bodyboarder also. It's my hobby. I love to ride waves and being in the ocean, So the ocean also, it's a huge part of my life. It's super important for me, and I think with what I bring to the photography is mostly who I am. I try to be as authentic as I can be and just being myself as much as I can, not pretending to be someone else. This involvement with nature comes a lot from the heart and how I feel connected and what is important to me. So I started my work towards sports and nature. Yeah, so it was always around surfing, skateboarding, since I'm from a big city, but I grew up in the countryside, so I have these two sides inside of me, So the skateboarding as a person from the big city, and how you can relate and crack the what's obvious in front of you. Like I think that skateboarding is it's a very good tool to do that. Like you start seeing the city with different set of eyes, like searching for places to go skate and make some tricks, So I think that also has a huge part in my way of perceiving stuff and filming and the aesthetics of everything I do. And so it's this both sides, like nature and big cities. So I had to get out of the big city because I couldn't live. My photography is like an extension of myself and my what I think it's beautiful in the world, So, and the photography for me is like a tool to do and leave a legacy to the people who are coming after me, and they get a feeling of how the world looked like on my time, on our time.
I believe that sometimes even if the photography is a kind part of the art, so sometimes when you're doing your art, painting, music, or shoot a photo, you can feel something that you cannot explain it. So when you were talking about what is the photography for you, I feel that okay, maybe there's something we cannot understand because it's coming from inside of him. So I feel that. So one question about the photography. So you said that it's a kind of the legacy. So we're gonna show the next generation or the different people. But you should have different eyes. Sometimes I can see, we are, for example, if you and me, we are walking, I can see in the same stuff. But when I'm gonna watch your photos and say, oh, it was there, this is the same place we met. So do you have that kind of, you probably, that's a stupid question if I want to say, do you have? So can you explain as a photographer how you can find that's a frame that's, I cannot explain it, maybe you can explain that point of the view.
Of course, and I don't think it's a stupid question at all. I mean, if it's a true question, then it has its value. And I think that for all photographers is an exercise of meditating and trying to search. And the search, the search is the essence of the photography. Not only the search for the perfect framing, but also for the perfect moment. So I think it's a lot of observation and connection, like trying to be there and really be there, like sometimes it's even funny. There's a film that has this line that says sometimes the camera is a distraction and sometimes we just don't click that photo just because we want to take that in. And
the Sean Penn,
yeah,
Sean, yeah.
Beautiful things don't ask for attention.
When are you gonna take it?
Sometimes I don't. If I like a moment, I mean me, personally, I don't like to have the distraction of the camera.
So yeah, it's a lot of that, you know. So I mean, for us nature photography photographers, the photography is an exercise of meditating and waiting and just searching for the best moment, the best light, the best framing, the best place to be or scene to watch, you know. But it's hard to explain how we. I think the results that we get, it's because of that observation and meditation, you know. Like sometimes most of tourists or visitors that are in a place and don't
Mm-hmm.
see that particular um, uh, perspective of the place, it's because maybe you are not paying enough attention, you know. Maybe you're just there and your head is in another space, you're thinking about something else. And as a photographer, you are working on, okay, I want the light to come from this way and I want to have this in my foreground and that in my background. So you start to watch everything as a whole and how you can compose everything and put them all together in a harmonious way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe that's why, because we are thinking about the scene, and sometimes someone that is just there is just, oh, that's what you have, you know, and not looking for the best perspective on that particularly scene. So,
We needed some kind of the ability and also practicing to find the way, because I think there is a way looking to look into this stuff. So
I think first of all, there's a lot of study also involved, because when you go out to shoot, like you need to know what you want to get in order to know what are the best tools for you.
the technical information.
Yeah, cameras, lenses, everything. If you are going to need an ND filter or a
Mm.
tripod, if you want to do like a long exposure, or if it's gonna be a shot that don't require a tripod at all, and you just want like high speed, as photography of surfing, for instance. Like when I go to photograph a surfer, it's always like high speeds. I want to be the image to be super frozen, you know, and I get all the details of the action. And sometimes I'm photographing a waterfall, and then that waterfall I want to make a veil of the waterfall and the movement of the water, so I will need a tripod. And so we come into the more technical part of photography, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And yeah, I think it's like that. And not only that, but also studying composition, lighting, what is the best scenario, what do you want to get out of it. If you want the mood of the golden light, or if you want the mood of the blue light, which is after the sun set. Everything depends on everything. It depends if you have the time to be there in the best light, or if you don't have the time and you're just passing through and you have like just 30 minutes with midday light, maybe. And sometimes you can make good photos out of that, in that window.
Yeah.
Most photographers don't consider that a good lighting, and it's not, because it's super harsh and it's just kind of boring because everything is super flat. There's no color contrast.
Mm-hmm.
So we are always looking for the sun rising, the sun setting, because then it's super colorful. The light behaves differently. It comes from the side, not from the top. So everything could become more appealing. You have more volume, and all of that contribute to a good photography. You know.
Do you remember when was the first time you or decide to be a photographer, and why did you decide? Because probably you just started to do it normally as a, if I say correctly, amateur. But when you decide to be professional.
Yeah. Oh, it was around 2008. Actually, when I got into college, they say on my grade that I was supposed to have photography classes, and I decided on studying marketing because they had that on the grade, and marketing could be like this joker in the deck of cards, you know, like you can use this for whatever. And I was not sure what I wanted to be. I just knew that I wanted to be happy and
Uh-huh.
be free, you know, like, have freedom inside of my line of duty. So it was really hard because back then this was 2005 when I started college. We didn't have YouTube, we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have all the social
Mm.
media booming. I think that by that time we were using Orkut, something like that. Okay, you could upload some photos, but I'm not even sure if that was a thing back then. But I mean, uh, I decided to become a photographer when I started studying after college. I was graduated in marketing, and then I moved on to this course of photography just because I was bored about what I was doing because I was working 9 to 5 in an office doing marketing and for this multinational company. Wake up early to go to this office, and for me it was super hard to be at the same place every day, and having to endure all the same people, and that's just me, like I totally respect who like that and live like that, and there's no shame at all. I think it's super honorable, but that's just not me. My characteristic is more outgoing. I like to be living new things every day. It's more free, it's more spontaneous. I have to be in different places, meeting new people all the time. So this is a part of photography that really uh, grabbed me, and made me want to follow this path. Because when I started studying photography, I also started making some side jobs alongside of my uh, previous career. And by the end of the first year studying photography, I was almost drawing in my income with the A plan and the B plan. So for me, it was the no-brainer. Like, I'm gonna go with photography because I have all this freedom. I don't have a boss. I don't have an employee. I don't have nobody under me. I can be myself, make my schedule, and having all these amazing experiences that I'm beginning to have since, well, then it was just the beginning. And then 13 years went by, and now here we are, and I've traveled so many countries already, like 31 countries filming. And yeah, it's been a thrill, and I feel blessed and super lucky to be where I am right now. And yeah, it's an activity that I like a lot because most of your colleagues become your friends and then become your family, and you are traveling all around with them and having these amazing experiences, and they are super stoked about what they're doing because they're working with they love. So it's
That's
amazing.
very important. You
Yeah.
can do what you can do the thing that you love it or you like it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
before we want to go about the trip and the countries you saw, I have one question because most of the time it's so natural in our as a humanity. So for example, right now I'm gonna watch you and say, oh, he's so successful, good for him, but I cannot see the road you came. You cannot see what's happened to you. You cannot see how many bones you broke to just came up. So you said that you had that kind of the office job, you had your salary, so everything was a little bit stable. But when you're gonna go to following your dream, you should leave everything. So if I want to ask, if it's okay for you to answer that, what was the most expensive price, not the money, I mean the price, something you pay to be here?
Well, I think it's the anxiety that you need to deal, because since you are a freelancer, as I am,
Yes.
you are never sure about tomorrow, and you gotta make sure that you have like a contingency plan, an
Yeah,
emergency
exactly.
savings account, for instance. Like, I don't know, if I suffer an accident and I cannot go to work because I need to be there physically, right? I need to operate camera, film this and that. So I think this is the main challenge, and for me, it was the most expensive per se thing would be this, and also to the times that I need to be traveling and away from my family. Like, I just got back from this project, and I was 5 weeks 5 weeks traveling straight, so I could not meet my wife. I could not talk properly with my parents and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
this is something that is hard, and I think it's even harder if you have a son or a daughter. Like you're gonna be away from your family. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the main. This is and the anxiety, because the mental health issue is present, and with COVID and everything that happened is even more present. Like
Yeah.
anxiety as the people's anxiety as a whole rose to levels never seen before. With all the restrictions and all the fear that was spread with that. But I was trying. I was having to deal with this all my life being a photographer because of that. You never know the day of tomorrow. You don't have a salary. Sometimes you don't have work, and it's hard, and you have to prepare yourself and make plans like, okay, so in the start it's very hard because you don't know which are the good months and which are the
Mm-hmm.
bad months, right? Until you get a feeling of that, and knows how to prepare, because sometimes you earn a lot, there's a lot of income, and right next to it it's like super bad and you cannot earn anything. So you have to plan yourself really well in order to be financially healthy, and not letting the financial part of your life get into your nerves and make you suffer with anxiety. I am a really anxious person, so I think for me that's the most hard part.
Exactly, because I asked that question because most of the time the people are just, as I said, just watching the the, the page, and they say, "Oh, he's so lucky. He was laughing. He can see. He can go everywhere he wants," and I want that life. When they start, okay, you want to do this. This is, oh, I didn't know that I should pay that much. So thank you so much. It's very important.
I even have a story that is nice to tell.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
When I decided to become a photographer and I quit my job, uh, the first 2 years were really tough because I didn't know exactly what I was doing. I had a lot to learn. I didn't have the proper tools to do everything they were asking of me. So sometimes I would not get a job because I didn't have the right tools. And so I even like there were some periods of time that I wouldn't even have lunch. When you put yourself to do something and you are committed enough and you love what you're doing, these difficulties you can overcome them. Like
You can find a meaning for them, maybe.
Yes, exactly. So, and that's what I believe. If you have commitment and you have a reason of doing it and it makes sense to you, it doesn't have to make sense to anybody else.
Yeah.
Like your head down and go, because sometimes you can see that it's gonna work out. And sometimes it's going to be hard, sometimes it's going to be really great, but the important thing is to plan yourself and have an emergency savings account, for instance, like they just said. And yeah, just
Mm.
search it, because photography happens a lot because of your network. So you gotta meet the right people, and you gotta meet people all the time and let them know that what you do, and show them your works every time. Like you're only a photographer if you put out work and you show people what you're doing. And some people are going to connect with it, some people are not, and that's okay. I think that the good thing is when you put out a good body of work, it
Mm.
sells itself. So you don't need to market yourself so much. Like the work speaks for itself, and the right people are the people who are going to connect with it, are the people who are going to hire you. So they are going to be the right people because they already like you or your job. So that's one thing that I really like in photography also. That happens a long time. And when we moved to Portugal, me and my wife, I told her that we needed at least 5 years to get to know the right people and really become something like it was in Brazil. Because when I left Brazil, I was already in a good spot. Like
Mm, yeah, yeah.
these big commercials with big brands, very big teams, and it was really nice. I was loving it. I was having the best time of my life. But everything that was happening there, the society, politically and socially, I was not. Uh, comfortable with what was happening, and that was when Bolsonaro was elected and everything. So we decided to move to Portugal because of that, and also to look for a better quality of life regarding safety, all those stuff. And also to live closer to the ocean, since here it's possible to have professional opportunities and have this lifestyle of being at the beach most of the time. So that's super hard in Brazil, because I think the best place to do and have that lifestyle would be Rio de Janeiro, but it's super dangerous, it's super violent. So that's one thing that we were super concerned about it, and that's why we moved here. And for me, it was like this new beginning. I got here, I knew nobody, I didn't have any clients, so I had to begin everything from scratch. Except that I already had like this baggage, like this knowledge and all the tools that I am carrying throughout my life. So it was a little bit easier, but the market is completely different. Portugal is such a small country compared to Brazil. Like, Brazil is super huge, it's a continental country. So we had a lot of jobs there, and life was kind of easy. I just waited for my phone to ring and go. But what I mean by all this story is, there is a timing for everything in life. And
Yeah.
if you intend to pursue a career, as a creative professional, you gotta give time and have the time and the patience. And me, as I said, I'm super anxious, so for me it's super hard to keep patience.
Yeah.
you know so yeah, but you have to accept it like it is. For everything there is a timing in life. For every plant there is a time for to grow up and then begin
Exactly.
having flower and then its fruit and then become a tree again with the seed. So it's the same. I mean, I translate a lot of that to my life because my photography is all around nature. So I like to incorporate what I observe to my life and try to be, I don't know, every day someone better to me, to the others around me, my friends, family, everyone. But yeah, that's how I face my profession. I think if anyone that is watching this are thinking about quitting their jobs and pursuing their passion, should go for it, but always
Yes.
remembering that sometimes it's going to be tough. But keep in mind that if you have a good solid reason behind it, it's going to be worth it,
Yeah.
because working with what you're passionate about is a blessing.
Thank you so much. So yeah, that's very important. If you want to do something, you must to be prepared for more responsibility and something that it's gonna
Sure.
you don't know, but they are waiting for you. Uh, I still have one question, but I'm gonna keep it because I like this part of uh, the journey. But you said that you have a lot of trip to the different country, 31 at least, as I hear that.
31 countries that I visited throughout my life, and they were all because of photography.
Mhm.
Like, I started traveling because I really wanted to capture different scenarios and know different cultures and have these as, like, it's like, for a person to be intelligent or cold, they read books, right? And
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
me to get a sense of the planet we live and what's the energy and how people treat each other and how they live their lives is traveling. So traveling for me is like reading a book. Like, this incorporates a lot of stuff into me, and that I can use this as inspiration to create afterwards.
When we are talking about the something as a food, when talk something it's not delicious or it's delicious, it's not at the food, it's not in the food, it's in our brain, how you are thinking or how you are looking to the stuff. Some people they're eating something that we said that is not good for us. So I'm not going to ask about the food, but you involve or have seen different culture. Do you remember which one it was more shocking for you?
I think when you go to Africa, it's incredible. I never been to Asia, but I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm gonna get almost the same feeling. But in Africa, the people are so happy and welcoming. that is crazy. I've been to only two places in Africa, which was Madagascar and Morocco. But both places are incredible. Like the Moroccans are incredible people, super warm. They are super welcoming, and going to Morocco is such a nice experience because it's the whole package. Like food, smells, the light, the dust, the desert, then the beaches, the countryside, the farmers. There's even cannabis farms. So it's like you have so many experiences inside one country, and all of that it's so good and so shocking. And also in Madagascar for me was like how it's like a time travel. Like you're
Mm.
200 years behind schedule comparing to the West, like to the Occident.
Madagascar.
Madagascar, yeah, because you still, when you go to the countryside of Madagascar, you find a lot of villages like I did. I found a village, I got into this village, and there were children there, like, I don't know, 8 years old, who would never seen white men before. So that for me was super shocking because the children started to rub my skin as if they wanted to take out the paint, and also to see like the children help their parents with the home tasks. Like I saw this little girl, she was about 10 years old, and she was carrying all the dishes to this river, and the river was like 2 kilometers away from her home. So
Oh,
she was carrying everything
yeah, at
on
top of
top of
head,
her
yeah.
head,
Mm.
going to the river to wash it and then take it back home to her mom. That was crazy. It really touched me, and how they don't have faucets, sinks at home, like. And for me, I spent like 15 days traveling around the country. I was shooting this ultra marathon event. It's called Racing the Planet. And I was doing this documentary with Carlos Diaz, which is a Brazilian ultra runner. And throughout this filming, I had a lot of these experiences throughout the villages, and I saw a lot of stuff that marked me, and made me super grateful of the life we have. Because that little girl, for instance, was something really crazy. Because when I got back to the hotel 15 days after traveling all around there, I got to my bathroom and I opened the faucet and
Oh,
it was like, wow.
we have a
I mean,
water.
like this is sacred, because that little girl has have to walk every day 4 kilometers just to wash dishes. We have so many comforts in our life that we are not even aware of. And when you go to places like that you see how the people live, it's like it's tough in a way because you see, whoa, I have so many stuff and I'm always complaining, I just want to get more and more, and they have nothing,
Mm.
and they are so genuinely happy. You cannot believe it. Like, you really cannot believe it. So that is the most shocking thing, like how they are happy living in misery because they don't have nothing, man. Nothing, not even water at home, they don't have energy, electric energy. So it's super crazy, but it's I mean, it's a good experience for you to have this shock and then give more
Yes,
value to things in life.
yes, yes. Sometimes they can open your eyes. So I have this one, and they are more generous even sometimes, even when they don't have anything to offer, but
No,
they are
and they
so.
are always sharing, they are always inviting you to have coffee at their place, and they want to share the food they have. Most of the times is nothing. Like, I have this really good story that I lived there because I met this guy. He was a volunteer on the event, on the Racing Planet event. He was from Madagascar, and it was his birthday. And all the volunteers, they were all locals.
Mm.
They were settling to have this dinner with him at this restaurant and stuff, and they invited me because we were having such a good time together, and I was the only outsider that went with them, so I got to this restaurant and I felt like an alien because I was the only white guy there, and everybody stopped what they were doing to let me get in and sitting on the table, and then all dinner I would peek on my shoulder, over my shoulders and see that everyone was still looking at me, trail to get there. And it was this woman's, this couple house. It was their house. And there was like 6 tables to eat. And they were cooking, and there wasn't a menu, It was only chicken.
There is what it is.
Yeah, it's just it's the food. You sit
Yeah.
down to have the food, We're cooking this today, and it was like a soup chicken with rice and some salad. And it was really funny because I remember when they put the plates and the silverware there for us to eat, I was shocked because okay, there's a fork and a spoon. Where's the knife to cut the chicken, And they told me, no, man.
Use your hand.
No, you use the chicken with the fork. Okay, so you eat like this, and the spoon you go with the rice and the soup of the chicken.
Oh.
That was really nice, but I think that the moral of this story was when the bill came. Like we asked for the bill, and they were counting like coins and talking to each other as if it was, oh, damn, this is expensive. We drink some beers, we had the food, and etc. And I saw the bill and I could not believe the value. Like I was, okay, guys, I don't want to be rude. I don't know how to be humble in this situation, but I mean, it's your birthday, and I really wanted to pay for this bill for you guys. And they were like, no way, no way, are you crazy? No, it's too expensive for you to pay alone. We're gonna split everyone, because we were 8 people, okay? And then I said, no, but it's your birthday, and I don't know if we're ever gonna get this chance again, so please let me do it. And they let me, and they were super happy, but the bill was like, I don't know, like €5, something like that.
Yep.
And that also struck me like, man, what the hell? They were discussing because it was expensive, and I mean, if it was just for me, this is still cheap,
Yeah, €5 is nothing.
that we have, like €5 a meal. That's super cheap,
Yeah.
And for 8 people drinking beers,
It's nothing. It's nothing.
yeah, nothing. And it was super shocking because I was super afraid of appearing to be rude, like, oh no, I can pay for this. And so I really tried to be humble, and I did not wanted to say to them that it was not expensive
Yeah.
for me. So I just said, no, this is a special occasion, so please let me do this. I will feel super happy if you let me do this. And yeah, so these situations are super shocking. But yeah.
So no, you have a different point of the view to what do you have in your house.
Yeah, totally, completely. So yeah.
Yeah.
Now, it's another it's another value.
Yeah.
I open up the faucet to clean my face. Is like, oh man,
Yeah.
this is sacred water.
It's very important. It's look like okay, because most of the time when especially when grow up in this kind of situation, we cannot see that it cannot be there, and some people they don't have it because most of the time it was there, so we're just normally and go open that or use the water or going to the even sometimes we're just using that dishwasher, so we're gonna put this stuff there. But no, you can go 2 kilometers every day and back 2 kilometers to just wash.
And then the most recent job that I was doing, which was mainly the reason that why Benjamin asked me to participate, was the Run for Europe project, which I was doing with my friend Rafa. He's a ultra runner as well, and it's funny how the ultra runs, they are like a magnet to me. Like I'm more interested in surfing and skateboarding, but the ultra run, it's an ambience really nice, and it's always dragging me towards it. Like it was in Madagascar. This experience happened in 2015, and now I just got back from this trip, which we traveled through 14 countries together around Europe. But he's actually running in 24 countries. I just had to come back earlier because of agenda. And it was really fun because we were traveling in this camper van. It was him, the ultra runner, his cousin, which is his physiotherapist, and me as the filmmaker and photographer, right? And we were at this with this camper van, and we started the trip in France, and then we went to these other 13 countries. We started in France, went to Italia, all the way down, and then ferry to Greece. To Greece, we went to Bulgaria, and then Romania, Hungary, Croatia, Slovenia, Austria, Slovakia. Then we went to Czechia, and then Poland, and then Lithuania, and then Latvia, and then from Latvia I went back to Portugal. But it was an amazing experience as well because we got to know so many great places and environments. We were traveling throughout national parks, and it was really nice to see the efforts that are being done throughout Europe to be wild the environment. And yeah, it was super nice experience also to meet people from all those countries, and see how they live, what their costumes, what their culture is like, and get a feeling of where am I, like what is Portugal in Europe? How can you relate Portugal to other countries and perceive the difference, because you only read about it or hear about it. So getting to actually go to those places and
you cannot feel it, you cannot live it. Yeah, I was waiting, maybe you can say have you been in Finland, but you didn't say that. You've never been in Finland.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what I meant about Morocco. Morocco for me is one of the best trips I ever made because of that. Like, you can feel so much with the warmth and welcoming of the people, and then the smells, the seasons, the incenses, the teas, the flowers.
And they have some very strong coffee or tea. I am
Yes.
Coffee.
Yes, they do. I don't drink coffee, so I'm super
You were
lucky at the subject. I cannot discuss
But I
about
hear
it.
that they have very strong coffee.
Yeah, but they do. I mean, my wife drank it and she said it was good.
It was okay.
Then, if you go to north of Morocco in Fez, they have the tanneries. It's also another experience because it smells so bad. They are treating the leather there, so there's a lot of strong
Smells, yeah.
Yeah, and it smells really bad. When you get there, people give you like mints, so you can put mints here in your nose and be more comfortable with the bad smell. But yeah, I mean, I think all of those experiences, all those feelings that these things evoke in you, the bad smells and the good smells, the food and the tanneries and even the dirt, the dust, the incenses, all of that contribute to you and to your life. I mean, I think that we as artists, everything that we live and experiences bring something to the table, make us improve ourselves as artists and making us improve ourselves as people, as a person, because all of that is more experience, like about it, you didn't heard about it, you live it, you feel it, so you have it in you,
You can be there.
If you feel that again, then it's not nostalgic, right? Like, where it's coming from, and it's
Yeah.
you feel pleasure out of that. So that's why I love traveling.
It's look like when you're gonna extend your being when you're going somewhere else.
Yeah.
You cannot. Yeah, I understand.
Super true.
So you had a trip in as you said, it on many countries in Europe. So can you tell us some story about the Europe and what was your experience?
Well, since I'm a Brazilian, it's I don't know. I think I don't have the same perspective as the European people, because my country was colonized, and I don't know. But what I felt taking this tour is that Portugal is amazing. Because everywhere is
Which
super
way?
cold, man.
Yeah. You never been in a Scandinavian country. Then you
No, never been to Scandinavia yet, but
you
I'm
should.
planning to go.
Yeah.
I really like the cold though. I mean, I think that the cold makes you get out of your comfort zone on a daily basis, because you have to get out, you have to do your stuff, you have
Yep.
to
Yep.
be active. And sometimes it's tough. I mean, I see that on the places that they have a lot of snow, it's super harsh. Like you're
Minus
trying
20, 25, but you have to go to the job.
so yeah, you're getting out of your comfort zone every day because if you do not, you're not living. You're just inside your home
Yeah,
doing
exactly.
what, playing video games, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, to have a life, you have to endure that. And for me, this whole experience with Run for Europe was about that. Getting out of the comfort zone, improving my resilience, improving my skills as my skills in a relationship, because it's hard also to be 5 weeks inside of a car with two other people that you don't know very much, and
Yeah.
you're not
Yeah.
exactly your friends. You are doing this project together. But we are super lucky that we became friends and we had too little stress. But I think that's mainly because we knew how to manage the relationship and the expectations of each one and what everyone needed. So that was really nice, but it requires a lot of patience also, because you're dealing with other human beings, and one
Uh-huh.
of them is super stressed out because he's running 24 marathons in 60 days. So the level of physical stress and emotional stress, it's there, it's super high, and you have to welcome the guy and know that he's in a bad spot
Yeah.
mentally and physically. And you gotta be there to support him, and also to be sane yourself, sane, and be happy with what you're doing. So I think that was the main challenge as the filmmaker. I know that the biggest challenge was for the ultra runner, because I mean 24
Yeah.
marathons in 60 days, it's not something anyone can do. Like you have to prepare yourself and train a lot to get to that level of commitment, and being able to run all that distance without an injury. So but yeah, I mean, my vision throughout Europe is that Europe is a super safe place, one of the best places on earth to travel, because you can witness a lot of variety regarding landscape, regarding wildlife, and there is a lot of difference in how people relate to each others. Like in Romania, we had the best experiences with people, because the people there are so warm, they are so welcoming as well. They were super interested in our project, and they really want to take part in the project. So they gather like 12 people to run with Rafa. So we had like this big crew running a full marathon. That was super crazy for me. Like 12 people running together a full marathon out of nowhere, just because they heard about this project and they related to it. And the whole story behind the project is about resilience and how to become more resilient.
Exactly.
And running is the tool. The sport is the tool to connect to other people, and to learn about the environment and what's been doing, and how we're gonna face the challenges that climate change are bringing upon us, and also to get a feeling of where we are regarding time and history, because we traveled throughout the Iron Curtain. If anyone watching us doesn't know what the Iron Curtain is like this division of Western and Eastern back in the 80s, right? And the Berlin's Wall was part of this Iron Curtain. So it's nice to see that this is not a thing anymore, and then that we are able to travel and cross borders without any worry. And sometimes I think our generation take this for granted, because our grandparents fought the war, and I feel like the humankind memory is too short. That was like 70 years ago, and right now we can see a rise of the ultra right throughout Europe and in America, in Brazil, some countries voting to get out of the European Union. I mean, why? Like this war in Ukraine and Russia. So this was the main reason that made us get up and want to do something about it. So we use what we had in our hands, and as the people we were. And I knew Rafa before this project, and I gave him the idea, and he loved it, and he came up with the reason why he would run, and it was just to bring attention to these matters and discuss about the importance of being united. Like we can see that the whole world is polarized politically and socially. The way for us as a species, as human beings, to be more resilient is not dividing ourselves but uniting ourselves. So we have to find a common ground and find some similarities, or a way to unite ourselves and not divide ourselves. And maybe running and sports is a way of doing that. But for somebody who is not interested in sports, it's a call to come and find. If you want help, we are here. But please get out of your comfort zone and find something that make your life worth living and make you want to unite with other people and be more resilient. Because now, with all this climate change stuff that we are witnessing, and everything with artificial intelligence that is up to appear, and we still don't know, we are just tapping the surface of this matter. The other day, some news came out that the chat GPT learned to lie and hire somebody to do the captcha for it, telling that it was not a robot. So, I mean, where are we going? So in order for us to be more resilient, the humankind must be united. And this project is all about that. And for me, it was such an honor and a pleasure to do it, because I really like to get involved to stories and works that have a meaning. It's not just like advertisement to sell stuff. Like, that's good to do because the team and the experience is really nice. But I mean, the end product is something that you are doing for some company to make money. And when you have the chance to do something with meaning, that you can spread a message, a positive message, I mean, it's priceless to me. So I feel very lucky and blessed to be part of this project and have the opportunity to travel to all these countries.
Thank you so much. You answered a lot of questions. I was writing that. It's so interesting. So I had the plan to ask, do you have any advice or tips? So you said all of them, to just be patient. And it's very nice, because I understand that you have that kind of the humanity point of the view to the job. So it's very important. It's not just a job. Okay, I'm doing that because I love it. But right now I understand that there is a different meaning for you. It's as some kind of the general humanity society. Maybe they can be involved. Thank you so much. It was wonderful for me, especially about your experience and you watch, and that kind of the point of the view you have. Not just because you are a photographer, you have because of your philosophy of your life. So thank you so much. In conclusion, if you have something to say, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, thank you, Jay. Thanks everyone who's watching. Thank you, Benjamin, for the invitation also. And if I have a message to give to all of you, is go for your passions and be patient. Remember that everything in life has their own time, and it's important for us to respect that time. I know sometimes it's really tough. For me, it is.
Yeah. Yes.
My timing is way faster than the lifetime, but I try to be respectful and just be thankful for what I have and what I have achieved in this life and in my career and everything. And be yourselves, be trust to yourselves, be true to yourselves, and trust the process, because it's sometimes not going to be easy. But if you are pursuing something that you are really passionate about, what you need to ask yourselves is, well, is this what would you be doing if you didn't need to make money? You know, and the answer is there. And if you can find this answer, go for it and try to make a life out of it, because you're gonna be happy, you're gonna be fulfilled, you're gonna feel complete, and maybe life is gonna be better like that way for you and for all the people around you. It's what I believe and what I try to do every day in my life. It's important to, like I said in the beginning of our conversation, you know, take your time, meditate on it, try to look for this perspective. If you don't like it, try to find another one, try to put
Yeah.
something in the foreground, another thing in the background. Always remember the good teachings that it spread all out the earth. Like,
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was wonderful talking with you, and I hope everyone enjoyed that. Thank you so much, Marcel, and for you and everyone there watching us. Please subscribe and turn that heart gonna be red and like this video. And if you are a person that you have a good experience about the tourism and you have a trip to different country or culture, you can contact and we will invite you to talk. Thank you so much, Marcel, and I hope to see you soon and in a different location and talk to you more.